so in love with you.
Welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. Today's video is gonna be absolutely bonkers. Now, the data is in, and Jerome Powell, at least many people, including me, believe that Jerome Powell owes the American people an apology, specifically because this situation that we're in right now with overwhelming inflation and an everything bubble could have perhaps been prevented had the Federal Reserve done quantitative tightening at the beginning of 2021 instead of waiting into the beginning of 2022, thus making this entire mess much more painful and much worse for a lot of people that have essentially been completely rug pulled. So today what we're going to do is really dig into an article from CNBC where people are calling on Jerome Powell to make an apology and their reasons why. Now, the name of the article from CNBC is titled, Siegel Says Jerome Powell Owes the American People an Apology for Poor Fed Policy. And you guys, I cannot agree more with that. And not just for potential home buyers. An apology needs to be given to many people because we were all rug pulled. New builders, companies, big businesses, small businesses, we were all rug pulled. Why were we rug pulled? Remember when Jerome Powell said it was transitory, that inflation was going to go away? And then do you also remember where he said that we're going to be okay, that it's going to be, that it's not going to be too high? Remember what he said from there? Then he started saying, oh, the market's going to crash, don't buy a property. So his entire narrative has continuously changed, which again, you guys, it's devastating. It's absolutely devastating. We need to look to our leaders for guidance, right? Not look to our leaders to try to get free money, and I'm not going to get into politics, but I am frustrated with the entire situation. So I'm just going to say this. Remember, I'm not your financial advisor, even if you want me to be, even if I want to be yours, although my bio is as someone that wants you to win at becoming a homeowner, and I want you guys to get the deals of your lifetime. And that's my desire, you guys. And for that desire and for that bio, please, you guys, help me push this video, the message, help me beat the algorithm. Like this video. Don't forget, shoot a comment below and subscribe if you haven't already. Regardless, let's hop into the article right now. All right, so we're going to start with a few bullet points right here. Siegel said the Fed is talking way too tough and should be more worried about causing a recession than lagged inflation data. Number two, honestly, I think Chairman Powell should offer the American people an apology for such poor monetary policy that he has pursued and the Fed has pursued over the past few years. That's 100%. The comments come after a 75% point hike from the Fed last week, which brought the central bank's target range for its benchmark interest rate to 3 to 3.25. And here's the thing, you guys, they're exactly right. Just hit the recession button, crash us already so that we can prepare, lift the Band-Aid off. And I think, unfortunately, what is happening right now is the Federal Reserve has succumbed to political pressure. That's why I'm saying I'm not going to even start the home buying process until after midterm so that I can avoid the circus show and that the Federal Reserve can actually do its job. Because I believe, I think we would be in a better situation than we are right now if, again, the political pressures weren't there, because they're breaking all of the fundamentals and basically making the inflation absolutely worse. So it's just so frustrating. I just don't get it. But regardless, let's hop back into the article right now. Wharton Business School professor Jeremy Siegel criticized the Federal Reserve and its chairman Jerome Powell on Monday, saying the U.S. central bank is moving too aggressively to fight inflation and will hurt American workers in the process. Siegel said on CNBC's Squawk Box that persisting high inflation in 2022 is due in large part to mistakes made by the Fed in the aftermath of the coronavirus pandemic, which caused economic shutdowns around the world and big drops in global markets, and that the Fed's pivot to fast rate hikes would cause more economic damage. Honestly, I think Jerome Powell should offer the American people an apology for such poor monetary policy that he has pursued and that the Fed has pursued over the past few years. And you guys, I think they're doing such a poor job at, being transparent and being held accountable. I think that it's very, very possible there's going to be an overcorrection. I'm actually planning on an overcorrection to happen because remember, in order for, on a $500,000 house, say a $500,000 house in 2019 went up 40%, we only need a decline of roughly 29% to reach pre-pandemic levels. Think about that. So we only need about 29 to 30% to reach that. Don't you think we're going to reach that? And also, comment below. Let me know if you think the Federal Reserve has been doing a good job and whether or not we're owed an apology. But either way, let's get back into the article. The comments come after another 75% point hike from the Fed last week, which brought the central bank's target rate for its benchmark interest rate to 3 to 3.25. Projections from the Fed policymakers at the recent meeting showed that the rate could jump well above 4% in coming months. Siegel said that the Fed is talking way too tough and should be more worried about causing a recession than focusing on lagging inflation data. He also said that the Fed is being inconsistent on how it uses some pieces of economic data. Now, I don't agree with what this gentleman is saying. And also unemployment from the date that this was published, the unemployment rate, you guys, actually went down. It went in the opposite direction that we wanted to see. So there is definitely more pain coming and definitely more apologies needed. Let's continue. Chairman Powell talked quite a bit about JOLTS data, the job opening and labor market turnover, how tight it is. Interesting thing, I looked back a year ago, September, it was exactly as tight as it is today. And he never said anything about inflation. What caused him to change his mind? It's the same data, Siegel said. Inflation has been running at its fastest pace since the early 1980s for much of this year. Some of the price increases were due to factors like supply chain issues from COVID and Russia's invasion of Ukraine, which drove up the price of commodities. But inflation appeared to be broadening out in recent reports, even as the price of oil has declined sharply. And real quick, guys, just to put this into perspective, in 2008, we only had 10 to 25 basis point hikes. Right now, we have 75 to 100 basis point hikes. In fact, the hiking is so devastating. It is so powerful that now the entire world economy seems to be crashing. In fact, the UK, London, NATO, all of these people have already reached out to the Federal Reserve to say, stop. But the reality is we can't stop. And if we do stop, we're going to be in an even worse situation than we're in right now. Let's finish out the article now. One source of inflation that worries some economists and policymakers now is the threat from rising wages, which can create a so-called wage price spiral, while higher prices push wages up, which then reinforce still higher prices. This is such a mess, you guys. However, Siegel said he doesn't think wages are really driving inflation this time, saying that recent workers' raises appear to catch up rather than a cause. And here's the thing, I think he's absolutely wrong about that. I think the labor market is messing us up, and it should, because again, PPP and massive EIDL loan. It seems to me wrong for Powell to say we're going to crush wage increases, we're going to crush the worker, when that is not the cause of the inflation. The cause of the inflation was excessive monetary accommodation for the last 2 years. Now that's well said. I definitely agree with him on that. And that's why I keep saying the Fed was late to the party. And not only were they late to the party, they kept flip-flopping and kept saying transitory, slow inflation. It's going to be okay. So yeah, I think we are due an apology. But do me a favor, guys, comment below. Let me know what you think. Do you think we're due an apology or not? And here's where I want to end, okay? To all of my viewers, stay awake, understand what's going on, and keep your eyes on the data. Do your own thinking, okay? And other than that, I also want you to double down on your preparation and stay ahead of the unaffordability so that you can afford to take advantage of the opportunity that is right around the corner. Now, other than that, you guys, I really appreciate you watching today's video, and I definitely hope that you got value from today's video. And if you're out there investing in real estate, you know I wish you luck, and I hope you win.